So I think now we can start the class. So yesterday we
Okay.
discussed about functions, and Hemraj, you were not in the class, so we also discussed about the test. In functions, basically functions are to perform some particular action, and in SAS, what SAS has done, they have already wrote some code and they put it inside a function. So suppose I need a string, I have a string and I need a part of that string. So they have created a function called substr, which will give you the particular part which is required, right? And there are multiple other functions also, like if we want to compress the string, like suppose there are spaces, extra spaces, and we do not need the extra spaces. So for that we have compress. So compress will remove all the blank or all the spaces, right? Then we have compressed blank and strips, other functions also. So we discussed around 6-7 functions. Yes, around 6-7 functions yesterday. Now I will discuss rest of the functions. So I'll start with the left function. So left is basically, suppose you have some spaces in the left side. Now you want to remove those spaces, right? So what you can do, so here, this is an example that you can see that we have spaces. So you can understand that A is a variable. We are creating a new variable. In this variable, we have, this is basically a string type. In this string, we have spaces on the left side, right? So now if I do not want these spaces on the left side, I want to remove these spaces. So what we can do here, where is Ali? I think seems like I'm internet problem. Okay. So what we can do, we can use left. If we use left, what it will do, it will remove these spaces from here, and it will put these spaces at the end of the string. So ideally it's not removing these spaces. What it's doing, it's taking the spaces from the left side and it's putting these spaces on the right side. So let's execute this code and let me show you the details. I have a variable which has some spaces at the left side. Now what I'm doing, B left A. What this left A will do, I'm commenting out this so that you can understand it better. Okay. So now if I execute this code and check the value of the B in the log, because I wrote put B equals to. So what happened here? B equals to CC space BB. That means left, whatever spaces were present at the left side, those have been removed and those have been put after the string. So basically, after the BB spaces we have put here. Okay, now if I want to check that actually it is putting the spaces at the end. So what we can do, here we can use the, this is just for the understanding purpose. You can see that I created a new variable. In this variable, you can see two pipes here, right? These pipes are basically for concatenation purpose, right? So suppose if I want to concatenate two string, so I will use the pipes, right? So this is XX, and then in left A, I know that we have a value of CCBB, okay? So what it will give me in the result, if I print the C, it will give me XXCC space BB, and then there will be space. Let's check out the details. Okay, here you can see XXCC space BB. Okay, now if I want to check, is it actually putting the whatever spaces were present in the left side, is it actually putting those spaces on the right? So what I can do, I can use the uh, operator here, which is like these pipes here, and then I can print some text, maybe bye something like that, and then I'm putting the value of C. Now let's check the result. Okay, so here you can see earlier there were no spaces in this string. It was a space and then CC space BB. Now what happened? After BB also, it's showing these spaces. So what it did, what left did, it took the spaces from the left and put at the end of the string. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay, great. Left and trim. So these two are like mostly we use left and trim together. What trim does actually, this function removes the leading blanks. So this is about the left. It removes the leading blanks and aligns the string to left plus plus. The trim function removes the trailing blanks also. So that's a good combo. Okay. So what they are saying here, if I do a left A, what it will give me? It will give me CC space BB and then spaces, whatever spaces were present there, those spaces will be added at the end of this string, right? Now, this is what it will give me in the B. Now, if I add a trim function also, what trim function does actually? Trim function, first of all, will remove the spaces at the, whatever spaces will present, those spaces will be removed. So these spaces are basically, like from the right side also, it will remove the spaces. Okay. So now if I use this trim A, that means the spaces has been removed. Okay. So let me take the example so that you can understand it better. If I comment out this, and then I use trim here. Right here also I provide one more space and I use trim, and now I want to put the value of B. What will be the value of B? Check the log, but I cannot know. I'm not sure because it has removed the left spaces and the right spaces, but I'm not sure because I do not know that there will be spaces after the ending of BB or not. So what I can do, I can use a pipe operator here. So basically I can use the pipes here to know that these values are correct. Whatever is showing is correct. Okay. Now what I did, I used a left A also. So what I can do, I can write directly B and then I can print this. Okay. So here you can see that in the left side we have spaces, right? But just a minute. We used trim A, all right, and then X6B Y. Okay, all right. So here I can see that we have spaces in the left and right both. What if I used a left here, left B? It removed the spaces from the left, but it put those spaces at the right side. Right. So what will be a better combo? If I used a left here, it will remove the spaces from the left. And then if I used a trim here, okay, so it removed the spaces from both of the sides. So what is a better combo actually? So if I check this step, what it will do? It will give me a string in this format, right? CC space BB, and there will be spaces which present in the string and one more space which was present in the left side. So this will be the result of B, right? Now if I talk about this portion only, this is highlighted, right? What it will give me? Trim B. B is my this string. Trim will remove these spaces from the right. So then now the string will be something like this, right? And I uses the XXYY to make sure that I'm getting the right result, right? So you can see there is no spaces in the starting and at the end of the string. Like before CC and after CC, there is no space, right? So this is how we are removing the spaces. There is one more way to doing this thing. Instead of doing in two steps, what we can do, because this is something which I discussed in yesterday's class. Let me tell you what I did actually. You can use a function which is called strip. Sorry. Strip and A. And then execute this code. It's giving the same result, CC space BB. So there can be two ways. First of all, we can use the left in this string, and then we can use the trim. Left will remove the spaces from the left side and it will put the spaces in the right side. Trim will remove the spaces from the right side, right? So strip and both, like a strip, what a strip can do? Strip will remove the spaces from left and right both. So this is single go. You can do this thing in this way. Is it clear?
Yes, clear.
Okay. One more function we have, length. So length is basically to check the length of the string. So suppose I want to know how many characters are in this string. So what I can do, I can use a length function. Okay, so we don't have any example here. So what I can do, I can mention the length A. Now I want to check the length of A. It will give me the length of A, right? So this is how you can work on this. It will also count the spaces, right? Now I want to check the length of this. 5, clear? So length is basically to giving you the number of characters present in the string. Right? So it has 5, it gives you a length of 5. These functions are really important when you are working on the string. So you will work these, mostly you will be working on the left, right, and important function, because at times you will see that we need to update the data. So, and in data cleaning also, you will be using these functions a lot. Okay. So we discussed about the left function, we discussed about the strip function, we discussed about the trim function. Now we will discuss about the right function. So as you understand by the name that what right function does, this function removes the trailing blanks and the blanks now moves to the left. So is it kind of like what we were doing in the left function with the help of left function? Left function was removing the spaces from the left side and putting it into right side. Now what right function will do? It will remove the spaces from the right side and it will put the spaces in the left side. Let's execute this code and check the details. We have CC spaces BB and then we have spaces. Write A X6. What write A does? Here we can see that write A is CC BB and then it removed the spaces from the right side. Right. So let's check one more thing. You can see that the spaces has been like bye and then whatever spaces were present at the right side, those has been removed and those has been put on the left side. So this is the way to check the details around these functions when you are using these functions first time. So this is the best way to understand the working of these functions. We can use our concatenation here and we can check the details around these functions. So what it did, it removed the spaces from here and it put these spaces in the initial. So the output will be something like this: spaces, spaces, CC, spaces, and then BB. Output will be something like this. And then when we put YY and XX before this, so YY and XX will be put here at the beginning and at the end of the string. So this is how it will work. Clear? Any question on this?
No.
Okay, all right. We have already discussed. We're not going to discuss it again. Friend word. You will not use this function a lot, but yes, this is interesting. So we can take a look on this. I discussed about the substr and scan function yesterday. Those two functions were very, very important. So I will give you a glimpse of that function so that you have a basic idea of those functions. Okay, friend word. Friend word functions is basically if you want to arrange the character variables. So like suppose I take one example. And in case of if you want to replace some, we discussed the same scenario with the help of substr yesterday. Now we are doing more or so similar thing with the help of convert function. So what I did here, I mentioned that length of act level is 10. Act level is, you know, that high, mode, low. Those were the act level. If you remember that particular database, if you do not, let me open that database. SAS user.admin. We are using this table a lot, so make sure you work on this table to make sure that we know the content of this, right? So ACT level has high, low, mode, and the observations are 21 observations, 7 of high, 7 of low, 7 of mode. So we have each ACT level has 7 observations. All right. So this is my table, how my table looks like. And now I want to apply a function here. What I did, first of all, length ACT level $10. So I told SAS that the ACT level length can go up to 10 characters, right? Then I set this as user.admit. Basically, I'm making a copy of SAS user.admit inside the Amit dataset. Now, what I need to do, ACT level equals to tran word. Inside the tran word, I am telling SAS that what they need to do, wherever they find high, they need to change that high to higher, right? So how this can be done? You need to mention that you are going to create a new variable at level 1. This at level 1 will check that if the value of at level is high, you need to put the value high. You need to update the value high to higher inside the at level 1. Okay. So let's get this printed. You can see at level 1 here. Wherever we have at level high, what it did, it made the ACT level 1 as higher. In case if it's low, it kept the same value, right? So tran word is basically to change the I'll say that to change a particular wording, right? So suppose if I want to update the HIG and this to higher, what will happen? You can see that there's a difference in spelling. What it did, it tried to search the HIG inside the ACT level, and whenever it found the HIG, it updated that HIG with HIGHER. Clear? So what transword does? Transword basically is being used to update a particular part of a string. If you want to replace that string, right? Clear?
Yep. Clear.
All right. In case if there are multiple occurrences, right, and I want to update the wording, so how we can use this? So we have we have a data set X which has names. Names are something like this, like hi, CC. Now what I want to do, wherever I find the hi, I want to replace that hi with HI, right? Because I think that this is a big word. I need to, this is a big string, and I need to remove this hi to only HI. So what I can do, I can mention that name equals to, now one thing, I mentioned that name equals to transword name. Earlier I created a new variable. Now I'm making changes in the existing variable only. So HIGH has been changed to HI. So what we did here, we created a data set, first of all X, and we have a variable inside the data set name. What was my requirement, that wherever you find hi, replace that hi to HI. Right? Or you can say that you want to replace it with H, maybe you want to replace it with A, right? What will be the output? Wherever in the string it will find high, it will replace that with A. All right. One important thing, I told it earlier also, and now also I'm telling you. Whenever you are working on the data means you are working on this data part, right? Inside the content of the table, that is case sensitive, right? If I mention that wherever you find, like I just made the last letter high, replace it with A, what will happen? It will not replace a single value. The reason behind, because this data is case sensitive. Okay. So what you can do, suppose maybe I mentioned HIGH, that whenever you find high, you will replace it to A. It will not replace anything because data is case sensitive. So it will search for the this all the letters are in capital, right? So what you can do, in the name, you can convert this name in the uppercase and then you can do the matching. Okay, your name was in the small letters, you can convert it to uppercase. Uppercase is also a function, and then you can make a changes. Now it will update the things. Why? Because what you did, you mentioned that name should be in, like whatever name was there, you converted that name in the uppercase, and then you are making up changes that if this string, this particular string uppercase name, which will be now HIGH in capital, will contain this string which is high, then you need to update this high to A, to a new string which is A. So now it matched and it updated it A, and then there is no match, so it kept the same. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. Name of the variable, data set name, nothing is case sensitive, but data inside the data set is always case sensitive. Data is also always case sensitive. Data set name, library name, nothing is case sensitive, but data is always, in any language, data is case sensitive. Okay, so we discussed about the rand word. So this is another example. If you want to update a particular, like I want to create a new variable and I want to update rand word, where is my like wherever it will find the gender as M, it need to replace the M to like male, right? In case if it find the female and you want to update that, you can mention the F and female here. So you may want to provide more description around the whatever we have. We may use some at times you will see that we have used abbreviation, right? And you want to provide a detail around the wording, so you can update this. Maybe you can create a new variable the way we have created a new variable. Maybe you want to make update in the existing variable, so you can mention this here. It will make the changes in the existing one. So this is same what we have discussed. Translate, this is also very interesting. Now we discussed about the changes while we want to change the word. What if I want to change the letters, right? The translate function changes the string character. Listen very carefully. The translate function changes the string character wise. The character in to and from should match. Any A in the string would be changed to 1 and so on. So this is regarding the example. So what we wanted here, we have created, suppose I have created a name which is Amit and then space Kumar. Now what I want to do, I want to translate, I want to use the translate, and instead of wherever I found AMI, I want to replace that AMI. I can take this example better, in a better way. So instead of 1, 2, 3, I will say that something like this, right? So this is the name, right? Amit space Kumar. Now what I want to do, I want AMI, instead of AMI, I want to keep NAM, right? So what I can do, I can mention, it will change the things according to the letters which we have provided here. What you can say? Okay, okay. This is for the understanding purpose. What we can do here, we can use a, and we can use it. Now you will see the difference. So what it did, wherever there was a, listen it very carefully. Wherever there was a, it replaced, I'm telling it, that replaced this A with N. And whenever it was getting M, replace that M with A. And when it get the I, replace that I with M. So if you see the output, the string was Amit Kumar. What it did, whenever it will find the A, it will update that A with N. Whenever it will find the M, I told it to update that M with the A, right? So even here also, if you see the Kumar, in Kumar also it will update the M to A. And then whenever it will find the I, replace that I with the M. Right? So this is how it's working. Like I am updating, actually what it does, it basically update the string with the character, actually character wise, which character in the order which I have provided. So I wanted, I told SAS that replace A with N and M with A and I with M. Okay. So this is how you will provide the number of letters which you want to be updated. Even you can use the numbers also. If your string contains the numbers, you can mention that this number I want to show in this way, right? So suppose I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and now what I want to do, I want to reverse this string, right? Something like that. 4, 3, 2, 1. I want to replace 1 with 2 and something like this, right? 1 should be replaced with 4 and 2 should be replaced with 3, something like this. So old name was 1, 2, 3, new name is 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, suppose the string is getting repeated and I want to change the sequence. So just watch. Like here also I provided 1, 2, 3, 4, something like this. So it will replace 4, 3, 2, 1 and then 4, 3, 2, 1. This is how it will work. Okay. So you will see when you will be working on the live examples, you will actually find that here I can use this approach. And in this situation, I would like to use the Vestria. In this situation, I would like to use trim. Here I can use the strip instead of doing the things in 2 steps by using left and then trim. So there are multiple ways. When you will be working on this, you will get a better idea of this. Okay, so these functions are like translate is not that much important. I would like to do the lowercase and uppercase, you know, and you can do a practice. Like this is nothing. What I just told you that. Let me tell you another example. But like it's just like any other language to make it lowercase and to make it uppercase. If you want to make it lowercase, you can use lowercase, and it will give you the result. Okay. So now if you see any what it will give you the result. If I use it will be any something like that. This will be the result. So this is how it will be working. In uppercase also I already take an example. Like uppercase will convert the complete string in the uppercase. Propcase we can do. So propcase is basically provide you the proper format of writing a string. So what is the proper format? The first letter should be in capital and rest of the letter should be in small. So it will give you a proper way, right? So maybe I can take one example and use propcase. Otherwise, something like this. ABC. I use propcase and I will provide name. Let's check the A. If you go inside the A, you will see there will be name and new name, right? So name was ABC in capital. New name will be in propcase, proper case, right? First will be in capital and rest of the letters will be in small. So this is a proper case. Mean, it's important. Important in the sense because you'll be working on the statistics. While you'll be working on the statistics, you will see. So what is mean actually? Do you know the meaning of mean? Can you tell me? Any one of you?
No,
Okay. So
no.
mean is basically nothing else, just average of 2 values, or depending on like if I have 4 values, so basically average of these values. Okay. So let me take one example. I have numbers, right? So what I can do, input, sorry, input X. Here we can see name, something like that. We have numbers. Numbers, I do not need to provide the dollars because these are the numbers. I'll use the cards. Right, cards are basically to provide the information corresponding. Values. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are my values of x, right? Now I want to calculate the mean of these x. What I can do, I can, if I need a mean of these values, so how I can do that? Suppose mean will be applied like something, I need to provide one more variable, which will be b, right? 1 and 4, and then 3, and then 5, 6, and then 1, something like this. Now I want to calculate, create a new variable, and I need a mean of a and b. So mean is basically how we calculate the mean actually. Mean is the average of the values. So I know that average of a, how we can calculate the average actually. So average is basically you sum the numbers a plus b divide by number of elements which we have, like so a plus b, sum of the, like suppose if I have two numbers, which is first is a, another one is b. A has a value of 1, B has a value of 4. What will be the average of these two values? So I will do sum of these. First of all, 1 plus 4 and divide by number of variables which we have. So number of variables are 2. So 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. In this case also 2 plus 3, 5 divided by 2. Here 3 plus 5 divided by 2, which is 4. Right? This is how it's calculating the average. So average or mean is same. If someone asks you that give me the average, you will say that this is the average, right? Now, if I have three numbers, but what I'll do, I'll use C. Here also I need to provide the information regarding the third variable and do the mean of these. Now it will give you the mean of these three. So what will be, just a minute, I need to put B here instead of C. So what will be the mean? 1 plus 4 plus 1. This is 6 divided by number of elements, which is 3, divided by 3. 2 plus 3 plus 3, which is 8, divided by 3. So this is how you can calculate the mean. Mean or average are same. If someone asks you that what is the difference of mean and average, so those are same. But there is a difference when someone asks you what is median, what is mode. Like those are different. So I will explain also when we'll be working a little bit on the statistics. I will explain those things also. So as of now, if I ask you, give me the average of these, you will, one important thing, you cannot calculate the mean of directly like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, if I ask you to provide the mean of these. So how you can do that in the sequel we will be discussing, because this will be an aggregate function. But in this case, we are calculating the mean as per the observation. On observation basis, we are creating a new variable and we are calculating the mean of these three, 1, 4, 1. And in this next row, mean of these three. In the next row, mean of these three. Something like this, right? So we will discuss this when we'll be working on the live work. All right. So mean is a function which you can use in this way. Quarter. Suppose I have a date and I need the quarter of the date. How I can do that? I can use the function which is QTR, which will give me the quarter of the date. Okay, so let's check out. So let's check out one of the data set which we have, and we should have a date also. So I'll go for the another data set which may have the date also. I'll go SAS help inside the SAS help. What is the city quarter? Let's check this out. It has the date or not. I need a data set which has date. Okay. I can see the balances, but I cannot find the dates here. So, let's check if library has a date. Otherwise, I'll create my own. Oh, it has information regarding like the libraries we have. And we'll have the time, complete time. So we'll use SAS user dot cargo away. We have multiple data sets inside the SAS user. So I'm looking for a data set which has, so this is the one because it has a date also. So I'll be using this SAS user dot cargo rev, right? Plus a date also. Okay, so let's check out the details corresponding the dates because here you can see 14610. So it's not showing the proper date. So what I can do, I can create my own. I can use this and I can provide the format also, right? So what I will do, I will use set and then I'll mention SAS user dot cargo rev. So this will make a copy of this data set. Now I can see that it has a date, but date is stored in the numeric only, and I want to store it in a proper format. This name is. I need to click on this to make sure that this is not a label. It has a proper name. It should have a name also. Okay, name is also, there is no label. Name is date. Okay, so I will use this. I need a quarter, right? What I can do, I can use QTR and then I can mention that for which field you need a QTR. I need a QTR, I need a quarter actually of the date, right? And here you can provide, you can give like something like date 9 dot format. And then will get this printed. Okay, you provided the format because you want to see the date in proper. So here you can see that this is 1st Jan 2000. 1st Jan 2000 is first quarter. By chance, so all of the dates are of first quarter only. But in case if there will be dates which is not of first quarter, like in second quarter or third quarter, it will give you the quarter. So basically, how many quarters we have in a year? Tell me, any one of you?
4.
4, right? And each quarter is of 3 months. So Jan, Feb, March will come in the first quarter, and then April, May, June in second, and then third, and then fourth, right? So this will give you the quarter on the basis of the month. So this is how the quarter calculation works. So suppose if client give you a situation that give me the data of those participants which have made a single transaction in first quarter. Give me the data more than 5 times in a quarter. If they say in a first quarter, you will say, okay, if they are talking about the first quarter, that means January, they want me to apply the conditions or apply my logics. So basically, they will, right? If client says that give me the data of those participants which has done more than 10 transactions in quarter 2, give me the data of those participants which are new for in the which has enrolled in the quarter 2. If what will be those participants whose date of hire April onwards, right? And up to and it goes up to April, which is enrolled in between of April to June, 1st April to till last of June. So those will come in the calculation. So this is how you will be using this quarter function. We have quarter questions also. Let's take a look on this. What kind of questions we can face in quarters? Okay. What is the number of employees hired quarter-wise working on this basis? And then another example of proc SQL and basis. In the web example, I wish to see the data month-wise, like Jan to March. So you can mention in this statement. And then we have multiple other questions also. Did you have an idea? So I will give you the exercise, and I'll make sure that I add these logics. And the one which is sum, it's very important. Okay, so we can take this example. This is a good example actually. Okay, so sum function is basically, suppose I have 8, what will be the value of this? 4 plus 9 is 13, 13 plus 3 is 16, 16 plus 8 is 24. It will give you the sum of these values which you passed inside the sum function. 4, 9, 3, 8, and then we have a dot, which is a missing value. So what will be the sum? Till 24. We appreciate to use the sum function because in case of missing values also, in values, the sum of non-missing values. So it is a good way of using the sum function because it does not give you a missing. If you use, I will take another example, which will, like, if I make up because the sum, something like this, it will also give me 24, right? Because I know I can use the operators in SAS. But what if I make a sum of like 4, 9 plus 3 plus 8 plus dot? It will give me here. It will give me a missing value only because I am making a sum of missing value. So if you, the interview question, this is the interview question. What is the difference between sum function and sum operator? Like you are using the normal sum with the help of operator, plus operator, right? So what will be the difference between sum operator and sum function? You will say the difference between these two is like if I am using a sum function, it will give value. It will give me the sum of the non-missing values. In case if I use a operator, sum operator, and then I want to sum which may have the missing values also in that. So we cannot use the plus basically the sum operator when we have the missing values in our data. So it will always give the missing value. So in that scenario, if we know that we may have the missing value, so we always appreciate to use the sum function, because sum function in case of missing values also, it returns the sum of the non-missing values. Is it clear?
Yes, clear.
Okay, great. All right. So these are the examples, like x1, x2, and x3 and x4. These are the values, and then y1. This can go up to 100 also. Like these values can go something like that. X100 equals to 21. Suppose something like this. Now, if I write sum of like if I write in this way that 5 plus 6 plus 4 plus 9 plus, I have to write it up to 100 times, right? In another way also, like if I use this approach, sum of, I need to write that sum of something like this, sum of x1 comma x2 comma x3, and then suppose if we can see that we have a range of values which is like this, like if I have x1 x2 I may have x3 x4 x10, something like this. So what I can write, I can use the range here. After this space I will mention x1 to x2. So suppose these are the values and I have many more values like this, and then we have 200, up to 200 I have values, and x200 is 39. So what I'll do, sum of x starting from the x1 and it will go up to x200. So it will give me the sum of all the values, give me the sum of all these values. So this is a way when we are using a range, we will appreciate to use this method. Okay, so here if I want, you can see the values. We have found a result which is the sum of these. So what I'll do, sum of x1 comma x4. This will give me the sum of these 4. Now I want sum of these 8 values. So I'll use comma of y1 to y5. This will give me the sum of these. These are basically ranges. The sum function I will apply it in this, that I want 2 variables ranges. You will use the sum in this way. Is it clear? It's a bit tricky that how to use it, but once it's clear, you will use, apart from sum also, there will be other things also where you will be using the range in this way. Clear? Question,
Yep.
doubt? All right. So now I have a value something like this, x1, x2, x3. Like I want to make a sum of these 3 values, and then I want to add something else, so maybe some y4 or something. x1 to x3. That means I'm telling that it's starting from the x1 variable and it will go up to x3. What will happen if I have a variable which is x9 in the mid, and the value is 34? So what I can do, I can use a double hyphen here, x1 to x3. So whatever value will fall in between of x1 and x2, so we'll be using a lot this functionality when we'll be working on the arrays. Okay. Another way of doing this thing, y1, y2, sum of all the y which has the values. If it can 3, it can 4, it will give you the sum of all values of variable y. So you can write off and then you can write colon at the end. You are not mentioning the y1 till y2. You are mentioning y colon. That means any value of y. You can also mention, will give you the, if you mention, if you do not mention off, what it will do, it will first calculate the difference between x1 minus x2, which is 0, and then it will do the sum. So make sure you mention off here. So basically it will give you the difference of 2 values. Is it clear?
It's clear.
Okay. Day. These functions will be used a lot when you will be working on the proxical part. So when you will be working on the proxical, but let's discuss it right now because as of now we are working on the functions of a month. So a month can have any number of days. So it can vary up to 1 to 30, 31st. Month can be of 30 days. It can be of 31st days. It can be of 29 days. It can be of 28 days in case of February and the leap year, non-leap year, right? So days in a month can be 31, but not more than 31, right? It can be less than 31, but cannot be more than that. Okay. So now what I want to check the day of the month in a date. So what I can do here, I can use the day function, right? So this is my variable, and I want to check the date of the day of the date. So day will go here. Sorry, here are your values. Value of 12th, 13th Jan, 13th. 31st Jan, in case of 31st Jan, it will give you value of 31st. So starting from the first, it will give you the value of the day from a. So if someone asks you that give me the day, what will be the day on function to give the exact details around the day. Now if someone asks you that in which year this all right. So we were discussing about the year. Year is basically to suppose you have a date and client is like you have a data of the to check those participants. I want a count of the participant which has enrolled in between of 1980 to 1990, right? So what you will use, you will check the year basically, right? Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Right. So it seems like there was a connectivity. Year function is basically to fetch the year from a date. So I'll take the example of this. And here I want the year of the date. So the year. So now how you can use this while you will be working on the SQL, maybe you will be working on the base test also, you will be using a month. It will always give you a value which will be numeric only, right? So if I ask you to fetch me the month of the month from a date, so month function will always give you a value which will be numeric. Year will be numeric. Even weekday, week also, it will give you the value in numeric. So here you can see that when we use the just a minute. When we use the year function, year is 2000. It's in numeric. Weekday is also very important because suppose you may want to check that whatever suppose you have some dates, that particular dates are weekday or weekday to get the information on the